Hello, family. Cheryl is back. We are
Mhm.
back together, and I am blonde.
I leave and you come back blonde.
I
It's just like,
know. I know. I
it was
know.
just
Can't
the timing.
can't take me anywhere. No, I'm just kidding. Don't let me go to the salon. No, I'm just kidding. Um, so this month we are doing Made of March, and yesterday we talked about what you were made of, biology, DNA, breath, all the fun things scientifically. And we talked about who made you and the fact that you are intentionally designed. You're not just here by happenstance. So today we're going to go one step further and we're going to talk about being deputized and like positioned and all the fun things. But I wanted to start with a fun, like a not fun, a simple question. Kind of fun. There's another challenging question coming, so buckle up, you guys. But if someone asks you, what does it mean to be made in the image of God? What would you say? Cheryl, what would you say?
Um, so I was reading this also on the flight, which was like, oh my gosh. Because the first part is let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea. This is in Genesis.
And we're going to that later, but yes.
But right here it says the phrase image of God means that there are things true of God that are also true of us. While obviously not gods ourselves, we reflect certain characteristics of God's nature. And when I read that, it's all underlined and all that stuff. So um, it was just like, yes, when I learned the characteristics of God with that word cloud that you created,
Hmm.
it changed my whole like image of God, of
Hmm.
how I see God, how I would go to God, how I would pray, whatever. Like all the things were just like flipped, done upside down because I thought the characteristics of God were to be like fearing God, in a way of like I have to perform, I have to do stuff to make have him make things happen. Like when you perform for like a crowd, or even if you perform to get good grades, or you perform to like get the degrees or get all these things that are performance in our world now. Um, it just made me see the image of God way differently. And the other part of it, during this whole first week of this, it's rooted. You could do this through your church, maybe. Um, it's I had to put like all the characteristics of God again. And I put unfailing, loving, protector, counselor, friend, creator, invisible, all-knowing. And that song, uh, I don't even know the name of it right now, but it's on the So Be It album because I keep
Hmm.
listening to that. It says, My name is God. Da, na, 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 na.
How should I?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one. Um, and
Us
so
being
just
muted.
just
Go
like
ahead.
because we don't see God, I think the image of God is born out of the characteristics that of God. And we know the characteristics of God through all the things in the Bible that we're getting to know. And so that's where I would say. I know that was long-winded.
No, it's right on track because like made in the image of God, like you had said, is kind of like pieces of God that are truths. God's truths are also parts of us. And that's kind of where I would have taken it to. I know, and sometimes it's like, you're special, you're valuable, you're loved. Like some Christians like will answer with that, like, oh, I'm made in the image of God, so I'm special. And it's all true, but really in the ancient world, image wasn't primarily about value, it was about representation. And
Mhm.
so the kings back then would formulate these statutes to like claim their territory so people would know who ruled the land. But God, when he created the world, he didn't do that. He didn't have any statues around. He placed people.
Mhm.
And all of us are here representing him on earth, And I think that that is what has been amazingly activating and revealing, like unfolding on deeper and deeper levels over these last like year and a half, is that like, holy moly, like, no, we aren't God himself, but we are extensions of God. And like he gets to experience through us when we let him. And it's just, it's
Yeah.
amazing. But then now here's the challenging question that came up while I was crafting this with our technology bestie. Uh, if we're made in the image of God, like every human being on this planet, why does the world often see so little of him in the way we live?
Because it's hidden.
Mm, that, yes. Why do we reflect fear more than faith, control more than trust, anxiety more than peace? You guys, like, now we're like going into identity, right? And we're going to like talk about representing him on earth. And I think that for me, I didn't know that I was a representation of God.
Yeah, me
Even though
either.
I know I don't know that I knew I was made in the image of God, honestly. I don't think I ever heard it as much as I've heard it in the last 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
I
Me,
don't think.
I never do that.
And so like, but when you hear that, I think it was just like a mumble, like, oh, here's Genesis and creation. It was a mumbled verse that I was probably trying to like check off a box to say I read the beginning of Genesis, right? As many times as I started the book of the Bible, the book from cover to cover. Um,
But listening it or having the filter of like, okay, we're made in his image, and then we go read it and it says
yeah.
it. Let us make mankind in our image and let them rule over the fish in the sea. Um,
Mhm.
yeah,
I
that
want to go to that verse actually.
changes it a lot.
It does when you kind of when you like yeah. When you read all the rest too, and when you kind of take time to slow down, and when you're doing it with the right heart posture to better understand and not just task oriented to complete the reading of the Bible in a year like I used to do. But Genesis 1, verse 26 um, says, this is on the sixth day. Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move on along the ground. God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Then God said, I give you every seed bearing plant. There's more. I'm just going to go. He gives us everything. Like we have dominion over the earth. That's where I was going with that, you guys. And then at verse 31, God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening and there was morning the sixth day. So we are, um, when we're made in his image, and like I said, so like what that is saying is like he is the ruling, hopes to be the ruling authority in our lives. And and then when you pair that with like the two greatest commandments to love God and then love others as yourself, and like basically we're called to live out God's love for others here on earth.
Yeah, and here it says here he is the creator and he creates us to be creators. Our
Mm,
stewardship of creation was to mirror his care in creating it.
yes. Mm,
Because he created the earth, but then he needed people to tend it. And I think that's been also game changing for me to think about that and how I walk through life. That it's different than just taking, but more receiving and knowing that God created us to be here to to help others and
Mm,
love him.
mm, yes. And now let's like tie in Jesus because this is Wednesday and we
Yes.
like to bring Jesus in on Walk with Jesus Wednesday. So we're going to jump to John 5:19. Not a new verse, you guys. We've read this.
We've
I
read this
feel
multiple times.
honestly, there's so many verses in the Bible, and I feel like how do we keep reading the same ones? But it's okay. It's
I
like
feel the
driving them
same.
in. 5:19. Mm. Okay, 5:19. This is like Jesus is make doing the healing at the pool, and it's on the Sabbath, and the Jewish leaders are like persecuting him, the Bible says actually in verse 16. And Jesus tells him his father is always at work, so he too is working. And then they tried all the more to kill him. And Jesus gave them this answer. Very truly, this is verse 19. Very truly, I tell you, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can only do what he sees the Father doing, because whatever the Father does, the Son also does. And he's just showing us a prime example of that perfect reflection of God. And I know like perfection can come off as like a negative buzzword. I'm such a perfectionist. And I think that it can be like we can have tendencies to manipulate perfection, right? Or twist it, the word pervert it. That's the word I was looking for. The world tries to pervert that. But whenever I hear we are made in the image of God, like God is perfection, God is perfect love, God is truth, God is understanding, God is forgiving, like all those qualities, right? And like perfection is one of them. And it makes it like seeing Jesus do this, he's like, the Son can do nothing that he doesn't see the Father doing. And I'm doing what the Father is doing, right? Like, so Jesus is our perfect example, our pioneer of faith, right? And so when I see that and I read that, as for me, it's like, okay, it might not be perfect in the world's standards, but the coding of perfection is in me. And when I let God and I let Him come in and I activate God and I walk in that, then I'm walking closer to Him. I'm reflecting Him more. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, but I think that it gives me the hope and the drive and the like the moving piece on the inside that like gets me to move even if it's not worldly perfect because I know that like God is in it and he's going to help it and he's going to work it and he's going to cook it no matter what. So,
Yeah, and when you're saying worldly perfect or perfectionism or all those things, I probably use that on my my interviews when they would ask you what's your weakness, and I would say perfection because
mm,
then you could spin it. But what I think another thing to ask yourself when you want to say perfection, like you say the worldly standards, but it's literally your standards that you have put on whatever you're putting your standards on whatever situation it is. Um, that messes you up. Like
mhm.
that's not what God's like, I'm perfect, so you have to be perfect too. We're not supposed to be perfect too. But Jesus is perfect, and Jesus was the restored image of him coming back on earth and restoring the relationship between humans and God. And just to know that that relationship, he wanted to continue the relationship. He could have just
Right.
left us
Right.
and been like, do what you gotta do, boy. Like it doesn't like he could have just like not come back and give us these new things. And people still kind of live in that too. Um, so just knowing that Jesus, like our beliefs of Jesus coming back, restoring God's image because he did create Adam and Eve and they were perfect until the fall and all that stuff.
Right.
And then all the things happened. Like how many years in between, I don't
Mm.
remember. And then Jesus comes back and restores it. And so living from that and living with Jesus' example, I think when you do go to your standards and go or you have your perfectionism, I would put your standards on Jesus. Be like, what are the
Yes.
Jesus standards on this? And
Mm.
um, I think that's been even more helpful in a lot of different situations that moving forward, like even being a parent and even being a friend, even being a wife, like all of these things, it comes back to like, okay, what would Jesus do, basically? But
Mm.
what are the standards of his perfection in this situation?
Yeah. And that kind of goes into like the next part of like dominion and position, right? Like where we are positioned. And we already touched on this, Genesis 1:28. God's first words, he blesses Adam and Eve, and then he tells them to be fruitful, multiply, in other words, fill the earth, have babies, and create generations of you. And subdue it, subdue the earth. And that gives us dominion. Like we were it wasn't a response, it was already authority already from original design.
Hmm.
And that's another piece that I've grown in so much over this seemingly short journey, is that like you said earlier, it's like I thought I had to do earn this or like, but no, go back to the very first book of the Bible, which was not the first book written, but it was the first one. It was ordered that way on purpose because God wanted to tell it in that order. That this was the first thing God did was he blessed them. Number one, you're blessed, like period. Stop right after first word, two words. Then the next thing, he calls you into community, right? Partnership. Be fruitful. Like go tend the earth, go make babies and tend the earth.
We
And
need more of you
yes, and
because this world is big.
yes,
Yeah.
and he wanted his family to grow. And then he says, and rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the air and all the creatures on the land and all the plants and the animals. It's all yours, right? Like, yes, I created it, but it's yours to tend. And I never knew that as part of our purpose here, right? Like, I don't know. I just felt like it was like two different things, but it's all one and it's all it's coming together like that for me right now.
Yeah, it was meant to be like separate before. And then all of a sudden we're like, that's the only way to think about it. Like
Yes.
there's no really other way because I think anything other way can be shaped into from whatever experiences that you're going through. It could be shaped into whatever you want it to be. And that's kind of like the world we lived in before of manifestation and just trying to figure out like, oh, I can manifest this into my life. And but what if it wasn't for us? Like, and we wouldn't even know that because we were the one trying to
Tell
make it
God.
happen. Yeah, tell God, give this to me because I really, really want it. And it's on my vision board. Please give it to me.
And
But
you gave me the vision, so it's got to be from you.
yes, so I think I jumped ahead earlier, but yeah, the fall distorted this. But like now, so my brain when I was reading this in my rooted tooth, I told you it was all aligned. That's
All
freaking me out.
aligned.
Um, in the fall, the like Eve eats the apple, and then he tells um Adam, "Oh my God, it's so good! Like, come eat it too."
Does she? That's another call. We'll go
I don't
there
know what
another
she
call.
says.
We'll
But
go there.
no, I just read a little bit about it. But after that, that's when it all changed. God was like, "Nope, I'm gonna give you labor pains when you have babies now." And Then I'm gonna make you rule over your wife. Like all these things. I was reading, it was like, what? This is why we have labor pains. Dang it, Eve. You messed us up. So just thinking about that, like it all happened with one little thing. Not little, but it was little, just eating an apple. Um, distorted this. But I was like, it was just a this is then it comes back to what your question was in the beginning of like why doesn't everyone know about God or like his I forgot the
Why
question.
aren't we
The
reflecting it
characteristic.
more?
Why aren't we reflecting God? And it was this is what happened. I was like, we could still reflect God, but it was hidden with sin,
Yes.
or it is hidden with sin.
Yes.
And just like getting to know that more, and I can't wait to like dive into that more just to figure out like the roots of all of it happening. But like I'm starting to believe now like heaven is earth on earth, and it's not that far. Like you don't have to like literally die to get there. That's kind of
Mm-mm.
where my brain is going
You don't have to die to
every
get
day.
there. It's here now for the taking. Thy
Yes.
kingdom come, thy will be done on heaven as in earth.
Yeah.
Earth
And
as it is in heaven. I totally just anorex
and
and
I think our world distorts this.
dyslexia.
Our world distorts this, and I know you were talking about it last week, I think, on your activation call, that like religion and all these things, like they distort it, and I don't know the intentions behind it or anything like that, but like you have like people distort things because we like to make things complicated, but then we create this world where God's not there anymore.
Right. It's the
And so
separation.
then there's so much separation
Mm.
that it's sometimes you have to like take away everything for someone to realize it's God, like
Mhm.
it's all God. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. And like my brain was freaking out about that. Um, and so yeah, that religion could hinder it if it's not focused on the relationship.
Mm.
Period.
Come on. Period. And speaking of relationships, the next point before we wrap up, because I know you got to get going with your kiddos, but child of God, like a royal chosen child of God. Like I never did I ever, ever, never,
Never have I
ever.
ever. Just kidding.
Never have I ever heard that before, like the last few years. But it's been in the Bible the whole time, you guys,
Yeah.
multiple places. And um
Because we're not
and
children, we're adults, right?
right, but I
But
kind of
we're
want to be a
children.
kid sometime. I just sent my mom a reel. I was like, that feeling when you get to go home and you don't have to be wife or mom, or you can just be daughter. I'm like, yes, I
Yes.
love it. Just hand them off, like,
Just
okay,
chill. Be
you
like,
got
I'm
it.
gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm
That's
gonna do
me.
something. It ain't gonna be anything that I normally would do. Anyway, but the distortion, like bringing that into this, like the fall created separation between us, and free will limits us in different ways, and like the distortion there of like I'm not royalty. Yes, you are. You are the daughter, the son of the King of Kings. Like you are in the royal family. And but this piece, these verses right here, I wanted to kind of go into Romans 8, and the whole chapter here is like life through the spirit. But we're going to look right around verse the I don't know, hold on. I know what it told me in my paper. And I think I'm going to start around 12. It says, therefore, brothers and sisters, we have an obligation, but it is not to the flesh to live according to it. For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if you live by the Spirit, you put to death the misdeeds of the body, you will live. For those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. The Spirit you received does not make you slaves so that you live in fear again. Rather, the Spirit you received brought about your adoption to sonship, and by him we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit himself testifies with our spirit that we are God's children. Now, if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ, if indeed we share in his sufferings in order that we may also share in his glory. You guys, like, what is this saying? Like, you are not a slave,
Yeah. If
period.
you
Like,
feel like
don't,
one, you're not one.
yes,
Mhm.
so that you live in fear. So when you feel like fear is coming on, that should be an immediate indicator to you. Hold up, separations happening. Hold up, distortions happening. I am a child of God. Like that is kind of what I started doing last year throughout the year was when I would notice like, I kind of feel, and even before, this is how God works. Even before I was walking this closely with God and I was doing the personal development stuff and the mindset stuff, he still guides your steps to get, if you let him, because I did let him. He just was kind of over here. If you remember, you guys, he was like, I was like, okay, you stay over there. It wasn't intentional, just kind of where he was. I just thought he was over there, because I positioned myself like outside of the royal family. But he guided my steps into like that awareness of like, okay, if it's not good, then it's not God.
Mm.
And so like whenever I felt like this isn't good, and like you even said, it shouldn't be like this, right? Like we shouldn't be dealing with this. This is wrong. Like there is an innate knowing and feeling and sensing, and that is your connection with God. That's the Holy Spirit in there. Like, hello, come back to me. God's like, I'm here. If you'll let him talk to you that way. And so like last year, as I started to get to know who God actually was and what he actually says and the characteristics of him, then I would be like, okay, wait, this isn't how God intended it. So it would be like a quick reset that, okay, I'm out of order. Let me go to him. Let me go to his word. So that I would use that as encouragement for you guys. Like, you don't have to perform in any way to measure up to the title of royal child of God. You
Mhm.
just, as Cheryl said earlier, have to receive it. That's it. Like literally, you have to choose to receive it. And in the past, I thought I had to measure up. I thought I had to do things to
Or we
like,
have like that's why I said, or we have to feel like we have to take it,
right.
like get it.
Yes, go get it. Yes. I think I was talking about that in the Bible study yesterday. You don't have to get it, you just have to live it. Like, I don't know, maybe it was some other time. Yes, you don't have to go get it. You just have to steward it. It's already there. It's already in you. It's already on the platter waiting for you to eat it. So stop thinking that it's far away, you're unaware. Like it is, start picking up that authority that was already given to you in the beginning, God's original design.
Mhm.
Period. All right. So we are going to quickly jump a little bit further at the end of chapter 8 here in Romans to verse 37. And I am in 8, 37. Okay, yes. So it says, no, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. You guys, period. I'm gonna pause it for just a second. You are more than a conqueror. So that phrase comes from the Greek word. I don't even want to try to pronounce it. There's a Greek word, hyper. Blah, 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 blah. It means to overwhelmingly conquer, to prevail completely, to be decisively victorious. I'm going to repeat that slower. More than a conqueror in Greek means to overwhelmingly conquer, to prevail completely, and to be decisively victorious. So you are not, like Cheryl said, you're not going out and fighting for whatever identity or whatever like position or like feeling that you think that you're trying to fight for. You are living from it because of Jesus paying the price to restore the right position. And I wanted to say this because there's so many people living in survival mode right now. Like, so many. You are not just a survivor. You are more than a survivor. You are more than a conqueror. And you do that by picking up the representation of God's image. All right. Any final words?
Yes, and amen. It's just like it brought back reading that sentence brought back to Genesis, the first sentence we read. And yes, and we just have to remember that and walking in that versus walking in fear, walking in survival mode. And like another question to ask yourself is like, why do you feel like you're just surviving
Mm,
when most people are could be thriving in whatever position that they're in? And yes, some people are in survival situations and need to do that in those, but they should not be your daily life. It
mhm.
can be like a moment, but not every single day.
Yeah.
So,
And I would encourage you, if you feel like you're in one of those survival moments or season, I don't even want to use that word because it sounds too long. We're going to use a
yeah,
survival moment.
moment.
If you feel like you're in a survival moment, call God. Then now the other song is playing in everybody's head. You're welcome. But for real, call on him because I know for Cheryl and myself and everyone else I know who walks closely and intimately with God, the more you call on him in those times, the faster the comfort comes. It doesn't change the storm, it doesn't take the storm away, but it unleashes the peace that surpasses understanding of the world, the love that surpasses understanding. Like the you're just going to have this like I know that I'm in a survival season, but I don't feel it because I've got God here guarding my heart. He's the Prince of Peace. He's literally keeping me steadfast in peace that surpasses any of my own understanding because that's a gift that he can do when
Yes.
you let him. So call him in those moments.
And
So,
just knowing that he equipped you
yes,
already.
period.
You already have the tools to do whatever you need to do in that moment. So use them.
Yeah, and that we're going to go back up a little bit, 10 verses up, Romans 8:28. He works all things to the good of those who love him.
Mhm.
So in that survival moment, you're like you just start calling God, calling on his word, like go to his word, let him talk to you through his word. Sometimes I just said this on the e-group call this morning. Like a lot of times people will like go to God in prayer, but sometimes for me, I can't even like, it's like I'm praying, but it sounds when I'm praying, it almost sounds like more me and less him versus go to his word and wash yourself with his word. And that has been a lot more helpful for me to kind of get in connection with him. So, all right, you guys, we love you. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on all the things, leave us comments, and